everybody, John the Phone Guy here, and today on Invicta Specs we're going to look at the Invicta Blue Label Grand Octane. It's going to be one of the larger, it's not the Sea Hunter, but it is a very substantial, and it's got a lot of high polish and industrial polish. I love the combinations on this. A very simple dial on here. Three-hand movement with the Ronda Z60 and all of that. So we'll dial up the bench and take a look at this guy. And here we have the Grand Octane Blue Label. This is model 27744. This is a 56 millimeter watch, water resistance 20 atmosphere, 200 meter, 660 feet. This is the Flame Fusion crystal, both front and back. Has an exhibition case back on here. It is featuring the Ronda Z60. The battery is a 395, has approximately a 4-year battery life, and the standard deviation on this is -10 to +20 seconds per month. So with that, we'll just kind of come in here and take a quick look at the dial face. Got the sub-dials here, chronograph, date window, day of the week, constant running seconds at the 3 o'clock here. And with that, we'll flip over to the back. Of course, we have the full scissor deployment clasp. One of the accents I love on this is that they have blued the scissor on this many times on the Blue Label. There's a few that have it. Is they actually blew this out. Most of them have just the stainless, but I think that's a nice added touch. Of course, you've got your diver clasp, and you've got this reserve on here. But I love this, so you can easily get your fingernail underneath here with this little impression. Just makes taking it on and off much easier. Of course, we've got all the details on the back. Of course, you can see the cover plate inside for the movement is all done in yellow. Of course, we got our battery over here and some of the components. But Ronda did this case back, or movement backing in yellow for Invicta. Of course, we got Blue Label, Flame Fusion, model, all that sort of stuff on the back. And so we'll just kind of take a look at this. And so you've got high polish and sorry, let me get up on here. You can see sort of like a brushed on the outside, and then mirror polish or high polish on the middle links. And then you've got some variation here on here. So you got the high polish, and then on the inner ring here, you got like a brush. Of course, this is a full unidirectional bezel on here. Get that line back up. Of course, you've got all of the Blue Label details. The blue with the gold accents. These I like these little hex nuts done in the gold on these little raised rider tabs. You can see the crystal coming up off of there, and you've got the 15-minute going around the rehot, and I just smeared it so you get all that cleaned up. So you can see your 5-minute increments on the rehot around here. Of course, you got your chronograph. This is a non-screw down crown and function pusher, which is pretty remarkable. They got this to a water resistance of 20 atmospheres, which makes it a dive rated watch at 20. So the gasketing system and everything they use has got to be pretty impressive. Of course, you've got your Invicta Reserve R in the middle here, and again this hex nut design. You got your shoulders for the crown protector on here, your date window, of course, day of the week, and all those details, and we'll look at that a little bit closer here in a second under the microscope. Just a beefy, but I mean, it's not a Sea Hunter, which is really thick and very substantial, but it is a very a very large watch for an Invicta, and in fact this is the largest to date reserve watch. The Sea Hunters are, to my knowledge, and I've not seen one that varies, has not been done, had a reserve badging and system done to a Sea Hunter, so that makes this the largest reserve. But with that, we'll step over to the microscope and take a look. So here we are under the microscope, and of course we're sitting here looking at the 12 o'clock of this, and you can see that we've got a pretty standard, this is going to be like a metal dial case, but you can see the gold outline around the numbers. Of course, we've got the Invicta Reserve here on the front, and chronograph 200 meters, and you've got the hour markers going around in a I don't know what you call it, trapezoidal, maybe. Anyway, I may be wrong on that, so I was just having a little fun. And of course, here we have our date window down here at the 4. You've got your constant running seconds over here, and this is your 30-minute timer for your chronograph. And with the Z60, you've got your day of the week over here. On the bezel, of course, we've got the this has like 6 rider tabs around, and it's got the gold finish on the hex screw. Of course, on the sides over here, you've got the big Invicta logo, reserve logo right there on the crown, and all of that. And of course, on the back, if I can get it to focus, apologies, we have the Swiss movement and some of the other details, the model number and all of that. Of course, with the Z60 and the exhibition caseback, Ronda has done a yellow cap, and of course you've got your battery over here, which as we talked about, is the 395 and all of that. So just a unique look at some of the insides of this. So that's kind of neat. So we'll kind of turn her back to the front here, and right there. And of course you can see the R for the reserve on the sweep hand of the chronograph, and we'll start the chronograph real quick. So you have your chronograph. This doesn't, obviously, with a Ronda 60, it doesn't have a 1/10 of a second or anything, so it just kind of just runs. So here, and then we'll reset, and we're back up here at 12. Sorry about that, a little bit of delay there for some reason, but the blue coloring is just, I really like the way they've done this. And of course the gold around, which is your, obviously typical blue label, just a very complementary color combination. So I'd go into more details, but really this is a fairly I wouldn't say plain, but it's a simple dial for a 3-hand chronograph, complication. So, or I should say, for a 3 sub-dial complication with a chronograph. But anyway, we'll head on back to the bench and finish this out. See all that. And coming back from the microscope, that was pretty interesting. Not a tremendous amount of details, because this is just a standard metal dial face, and we've seen the Z60 movement quite a few times, but we'll go ahead and throw some calipers on here and see what we get. So I get, because I'm trying to get this lined up with the 10 and the 4 without stuff in the way. Now I get 58, but I think I'm picking up a little bit on the crown over here, and there's like a little bit of a indentation, but we'll go with that. And then on the thickness, we'll go 18.1 if you include one of those stepped up tabs, 18.8. The lug on this guy is, we'll call it 39. The bracelet looks like it tapers a little bit down to 27.4 down here. The thickness on the links are running 4.7, and the lug I'm going to measure from where it dents in right here at the two sides. So try and get on this as best I can. So we'll call it 57.3 on there. So with that, we'll grab the scales real quick and throw her on here. And we're in grams, so we'll do the metric side first. So we get 350 grams. And change this over real quick, zero it out. And we get 12.3 ounces for that. So, you know, this is going to be a substantial watch on your wrist. Bring it back in shot here while I goof off. But that being said, I'm going to put it on my wrist. I have a 7-inch wrist from a comparison standpoint. So that's how it looks on me, you know, from that angle and that size perspective. Of course, you can see, you know, there is quite a bit of room, you know, down in here. You can see, you know, the gapping. So obviously, let me unhook this real quick. So as I move it up my wrist, you can see that, you know, it will still comfortably fit. I'd say that's probably close to about 8.5 to 9 right in there. So, you know, a very easy taper here, I think, is what makes this more wearable. And, you know, you've got a pretty, you know, a really fluid movement on here, which I think makes it more wearable for the smaller wrist, you know, or average size. I'd say I'm probably pretty average 7-inch wrist from that perspective. So, you know, going with that, I would say, you know, we're pretty much in that realm. Now, is it big? Yeah, I mean, it's a big watch, but comfort-wise, you know, the thickness of this and the taper and the, you know, the sturdiness adds to the weight, but it does make it so that it has a little bit of a balance to it. So, I mean, I like them. Obviously, this is mine. I've yet to review or do a spec on someone else's watches. Of course, with all of the Corona and all the craziness going on, you know, that may be some time before I can arrange to do a spec video on a friend's watch or something like that. But I look forward to doing that one day. I think that'd be a lot of fun. With that, we will give a few shout outs and whatnot for YouTube and Instagram. And we'll give a shout out to Smitten by Invicta on Instagram, Invicta Watches and Women's Fashion, and of course YouTube sensations Trap Vision 3D and the Lifestyle page talking about all things collecting and family, and of course Tommy Big Time focusing on bracelet sizing and battery changes and everything Invicta. D&Q chronicling travel and food and fun. Tony Woe, Christian rapper, and his music and life perspective. And of course, we do most of our shopping on ShopHQ and InvictaStores.com. Obviously, there's Amazon and eBay and other places. Outside of those two that I say we primarily buy from, I would say, you know, do your due diligence, make sure that they're legitimate and everything. I'd hate for someone to get burned, because I think it gives the watch company a bad name. But I mean, it really comes down to there's people that are going to take advantage and people not, and you know, just do your due diligence and go from there. But I will finish this out and see you guys in a second to close out the video. So there we have the Grand Octane Blue label, and I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and that you found, you know, something different or new about the watch and the different pieces of it. If you do and you haven't subscribed, please click the link over here to subscribe. And I've also included some links of some videos over here and here to take a look at as well. And with that, I say take care and enjoy your Invicta watches, and I hope to see you next time on Invicta Specs.